Hi, I'm Bruce from North Star Games, and we're going to do a playthrough of Wits and Wagers, the Family Edition. Joining me today, to my left, to your right, is Caleb.
Hello.
Thea.
Hello.
And Rick. Big Rick, nice to see you again.
It's always a pleasure to have you in the studio, Bruce.
I love being here, and I'm so glad that all of you are willing to play what I think are fabulous games.
And they absolutely are. I've learned today that I can only win so much. Enough just to get a steak dinner in any of the games, so I hope that maybe I can come out a winner on top in this one.
And it's interesting you should mention the steak dinner. If you're used to Wits and Wagers is normally a gambling type game. It's a mix of trivia and gambling. In the Family Edition, we've taken the gambling completely out. We have decided that if you don't necessarily want your kids playing a gambling game, or if you're having grandma around and you want to put the family together and you don't necessarily want that gambling aspect, there's no reason you can't play Wits and Wagers. That's exactly what this version is for. It plays just slightly different, but the basic mechanisms are exactly the same. You're going to have 5 boards. You're going to have a number 1 board, which you'll learn about in a second, but if you know the game, something needs to set kind of the minimum floor, and that's what this board does in this game. It also comes with a scoreboard, because unlike the gambling versions where you count your poker chips, in this one you're going to be moving down the board. Okay? So I would say each person grab a color of board that you like. I'm going to give you purple, though it hurts a little bit because I normally play purple in games, but I also play yellow in a lot of games too. Okay? The basic mechanism is going to work exactly the same. I'm going to read you a question. You're going to give me a number answer as close as possible without going over, just like The Price is Right. Okay? Also, the other thing you're going to notice, it comes with a brand new question pack, and these are sort of more family-oriented questions. So what you're going to see in these questions are like puppies and kitties, Disney things, just sort of stuff that kids may have a better frame of reference for. Because some of the questions in the other games, not to say that they're necessarily something you wouldn't have a frame of reference for, but if you ask, like a 9-year-old, how tall is the Eiffel Tower, they might just kind of go like, I don't know, I've never been to France. With this, it's going to be things that are just a little bit easier for kids to kind of get a grasp of. So question number 1. Oh, it's a puppy question. What is the greatest number of puppies born in the same litter? What is the greatest number of puppies, goggies as I like to refer to them, born in the same litter?
I need another pen, please.
Well, then we will re-pen you.
Thank you.
And then as a note, at home, those of you watching, if you buy one of our games, and you buy Wits and Wagers, and you use the pens, and you play the game so much that the pens dry out, contact us. We will replace any of the replaceable parts, like the pens that will dry out, because we understand that if you don't have working pens, you don't really have Wits and Wagers. So if you don't feel like getting them from any of your local sort of box stores, anywhere you would get pens, and you're willing to wait for us to get them out to you, we will get you more pens. I'm going to go with that. And when you're done, you should sort of put them face down in front of you somewhere, just so people know that you're done. Okay? So now we're going to reveal all of our answers. Reveal them, and Caleb, I'm going to help you towards the camera. 31 I've got. What do we have here? 15, and what appears to be a little puppy face there. 6 and 23. So we're going to start at the number 1, and we're just going to put the answers from smallest to largest. So you're going to get 6 and 15 and 23 and 31. Because clearly I didn't write it correctly and everyone else did. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, so you have 2 meeples. If you know sort of any other standard, we like to call Euro games, but I think they're just games, they're my people. They're little wooden people. Your small wooden person is worth 1 point. Your large wooden person is worth 2 points. Getting the answer that is closest without going over is worth another point. Place down your markers.
All right.
So you're going for the answer you think is the closest without going over. I'm going to put my big guy there and my little person there.
Same.
Okay, you're just going to copy me.
Yes, I would.
Because you know what winning looks like. And it looks like this guy here.
I was going to do the same thing, but
nothing stops you. You can do all of that. Just remember, if we're all on the exact same setup, that no one's really going to, we're all going to be tied.
I'll do the opposite.
Okay. Okie doke.
There we go.
So everybody's in, and we're going to take a look at the question. First question of our game. Now, in regular Wits and Wagers, in any of the gambling versions, there's 7 questions. In this game, the first person to 15 points wins the game. So we don't know exactly how many questions it's going to run. Normally, runs about 15 or so minutes, 20 minutes in a game, but you do not know how many it is until you get there, okay? So our first question, what is the greatest number of puppies born in the same litter? Fun fact! Okay, so on the back of all of our questions is a fun fact. They are always factual, they are occasionally fun, but I feel like if we're real enthusiastic, they're gonna feel a lot more fun than they may be. Fun fact! The 20 surviving Mastiff puppies will each grow to about 2 feet tall.
Wow.
There were 24 in that litter. 24 the correct answer, 23 incredibly close. So,
Nice.
blue is gonna get 1 point, which we mark on the board. Blue gets 2 more points for having the big meeple. Yellow gets 2 points for the big meeple. Green gets 1 point for the small meeple. And that's it. Everybody pull your cards, pull your everything back. And we're going to jump in to question number 2. Once
Someone
again.
could hand me my cards.
Oh, sorry
That'd be
about
great.
that.
No worries, thank you. All right.
And so we know right now is Rick is leading with 3 points. I have 2 points. Caleb, you have a point. And you'll be in the game anytime now. As we move on to question number 2. What is the world record for the oldest age that a man has lived to? What is the world record for the oldest age that a man has lived to? This is from the Guinness World Records 2013. We note that only because if somebody managed to live older this year, it's not necessarily the most up-to-date. Once again, it was taken from 2013, but one thing to note is on any of these questions that have sort of older Guinness World Record dates on them, we picked things that don't change very often. So if we put it with a 2013 date, it means it probably hadn't changed since at least 1993. We didn't pick things that fluctuate a lot, but we also wanted to make sure if you're here for the trivia that we wanted you to know that we do have a source on it and exactly when we got it, just in case anything should change. I'm gonna go with that answer. Does everybody have an answer? Let's reveal them. I'm gonna go with 104, 114, 115, 110. I'm gonna do one thing real quick because all of you clearly have written like that because you're reasonable people. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's lay them out. Let's see, 104,
Yeah.
110,
114.
114, 115. Once again, you have your meeples, you have your big and your little meeple. Place your meeples. I'm gonna put all of my meeples in one place. You can bet them on yourself, you don't have to. You can bet them together, you don't have to. I'm gonna go everything on 115.
I'm
It
gonna go
feels
big on 15,
Big on
little
15?
on 14.
and big, little on 114. Is everybody okay? And are all of our meeples placed? Very good. What's the world record for the oldest age that a man has lived to? Fun fact, the oldest woman lived to 122.
Wow.
The oldest man lived to 115.7.
Wow.
115.7. You cannot get any closer. So we're going to award you 1 point for being the closest, and you have a 2-point big meeple there. So you're going to get 2 points. I have 3 points worth of meeples there, so 1, 2, 3. And Rick, you have a big meeple there for 2 points. So you and I are now tied at 5. Thea has 3. Hey, Caleb. This is a game that you're playing in. It is not a game that you are winning, sir.
I win participation, basically.
There you
That's
go.
really, and you know what? It is important that you are at least here. As we move into question number 3 on this game, let's take a look. To me, this is a very, well, this is, I don't know this, but people probably know this. How many countries are in South America? How many countries are in South America? Now, I would say this is the kind of question, if you're playing it with your family, it might be more of a guess. If you're playing with like real hardcore trivia nerds, they are going to probably get this one. That feels super right to me. It probably isn't though, but it feels it.
Ooh, that is a toughie.
I'm literally just going with my gut. This is probably wrong.
No, that's the thing. And remember, this is the trivia game for people who don't like trivia.
I ain't got
So
nothing.
just take a guess. Let's go for it. Flip them up. I'm going to go 27, 12, 18, and 41. So let's lay them out. 12, 18, 27, and 41. You have meeples. Put them places.
27 sounds about right.
I'm gonna go both guys, the whole farm. Everybody I have All of the people on 27. All of the tiny little
Probably
wooden
18.
folks.
41 might be overkill.
41 might be overkill, or it might be absolutely on point. We don't know. We'll find out in a second. How many countries are in South America? Fun fact! It also has 3 major territories: French Guiana, the Galapagos Islands, and the Falkland Islands. As far as countries, there are 12. 12 is the correct answer. You can't be more right.
right
That's
on the
all of the
money.
right for 2 points, and no one put a maple there. I don't know why.
job.
Wow.
I don't know why. You weren't given enough respect. Although you also did not put any maples
No,
there.
I didn't
So
even
I don't
respect
know.
myself.
Yeah, I don't know if any of the rest of us can be blamed for that.
That
There
was
you
interesting.
go.
That was a good
There
run.
you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
2 in a
wow.
row there. Just good
How
guessing on
wrong.
these random things.
Oof. So we move on to the next question. On average, how many eggs does a chicken lay in a year?
Oof.
According to the fine folks at the U.S. Poultry and Egg Association, which is apparently a real thing. On average,
I believe that.
how many eggs does a chicken lay in a year?
Oh, it's gonna be a lot.
I feel like it's got to be like a big number. That's my big number. That's the big number I'm picking. It is now a 3-way tie, and Caleb is also in the game.
I am still here.
Yeah, you're still here with a point.
I'm just barely making it, man.
Sometimes that's all you can do. The rest of us, whereas, can be tied at 5.
Just keep on keeping on.
This is where we're going to get the breakaway right here.
I think this is where it happens. This is where someone gets 4 points and just,
Yeah.
Meow. Are we ready? I have 350. You have 650, 300, 2,300, and then also one more.
Good.
So 300,
Gotta have that extra
350, 650, and 2,300, and then also one more.
Good.
So did you do the same thing I did where you're like, there's 365 days in a year, and I don't know an egg a day. Maybe not.
Maybe they lay more than one day. Who knows?
Probably. I don't know enough about
Sometimes.
chickens.
Both on
I'm
650.
Both
pretty
on 650.
bird knowledgeable-ish.
Put my big one on 650, and then.
Are you bird knowledgeable-ish? Okay. So then,
mean-
uh,
We're gonna see what happens here.
365 days.
see what
I mean,
happens.
like.
if you're bird knowledgeable-ish, if you're adjacent to bird knowledgeable, I'm gonna go with it.
Apparently, my guesses have also been
know
like
why, but I
really
feel-
good. So
For spanning 2,300 days, 2,300 eggs. That sounds like a lot for one chicken. I don't know.
It sure does.
I might go all in on my own for this one. Just
Uh-oh.
to see what happens.
It's a bold move.
We'll see.
Fortune favors the bold, though.
we'll see how much
And you-
bird knowledge I actually
sometimes.
have.
And you need some of that. On average, how many eggs does a chicken lay in a year? So not a fun fact this time.
That's
We have done this in the past. Right now, if you go on social media, North Star Games on any social media, but mostly on Twitter, we do hashtag WitsWed, so Wits Wednesday, where we bring up articles and we sort of talk about fun questions that maybe should be in the game, and we do the research and show you where the research comes from. A version that we used to do was called Get in the Game, where you could submit questions and we would put your picture and your name on a Wits and Wagers card. We may do that again and we may pull it out of the WitsWed people, so hashtag WitsWed. This came from Tom Flatt, who is a big fan of statues, just sitting with a statue. If you look at Tom right there, just sitting with a statue. The correct answer, 259 eggs, 259. The
Dang
correct answer. So if you had
was
bet
so
the one,
close.
you would have gotten something, but you didn't because none of us did. So pull back your guys, pull back your board, pull back your everything.
I really
I
felt
was
like I
still
was really
theoretically
close.
closest.
Yeah.
Oh. As we move on to our next question, still 3-way tie.
Excuse me.
Caleb's still here.
I think Rick transferred his bad luck to me.
He might have.
Maybe.
Yeah.
In a minute, what is the average time a person spends taking a shower?
Oh my gosh.
Apparently the fine folks at Unilever looked this one up. Unilever Shower Study 2013. Also another note for those of you that play Wits and Wagers games, or when you see your Wits and Wagers game, sometimes you'll see a stat like this with a 2013 on it. That's because this is not the kind of thing that people do very often. They don't do these studies.
Shower?
No, shower always.
hope
Hey,
you shower.
convention goers,
Oh, please.
shower always, every day, twice on Sunday.
Convention going 101.
Convention going 101, take a shower, get some sleep, man. Nobody wants to be around you when you're cranky
Don't
and
be
tired.
gross.
Don't be gross, and eat.
Yeah.
But
I think I won.
the important thing to note is that these sort of studies are not done very frequently. So we have to pull from whatever study was the one time they did it. So please don't get hung up in the, well, what is the new number? They didn't research it again. They did it one time so that they could do kind of fun stuff like this with it, okay? So let's take a look. I'm gonna go with that. And are we ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna reveal 17 minutes, 20 minutes, 35 minutes, 17 minutes and 23 seconds. So just enough to make my answer almost entirely invalid.
Beautiful.
20 and 35. You have meeples, you know how to use them. I think people could potentially be gross, so I'm gonna go there.
1. So the black one is always 1, and you can bet on that if you
The
want?
black one is always 1, you can bet on it, and the same thing, and remember these are not bets, these are placements of meeples.
Right.
It's always going to give you the same amount of points for the meeples that you've placed. That is just there to make sure that there's a floor, so that there isn't a lower than the lowest answer. No answer in this game is ever less than 1.
Nice.
I'll do that too, maybe.
Ooh.
No, I'm gonna switch those. I'm gonna switch those up.
Own love.
I'm gonna go that way. I think I got it.
All right.
In minutes, what is the average time a person spends taking a shower? Fun fact! Data was recorded using a shower sensor that picked up the noise of the water as it ran through the pipe. And the average shower is 8 minutes. 8 minutes, the
There you
correct
go.
answer on that one. So 1 is what's gonna hit it here. I get 2 points for the big maple. Rick, you're gonna get 1 point for the small maple. And we are moving on to our next question. Grab your, guys. I had a terrible feeling it was going to be that, which makes me wonder, like, how much time have I wasted based on the average person? Because I'm a long shower guy.
Me
Yeah.
too.
I'm there. I have things to think about. I have problems I need to take care of, and the only way I can take care of those problems is if there is some relatively warm water pouring on my head. That's the only way I can do it.
Thoughts. Okay, got it.
In what year was the first piece of chewing gum sold? In what year was the first piece of chewing gum sold? This is going to be one of those really wacky answers. I think that is an appropriately wacky answer for what we're doing here. Also, for those of you that run games at small conventions, because the scoring on this is so much easier than Wits and Wagers, it's a lot easier to run those convention games.
Right.
So this makes it a lot easier for those functions. You never quite know the amount of time because you don't know how it's going to take somebody to get to 15.
Sure.
But it is a super cool way if you don't want to have to deal with all of the bookkeeping of one of the Wits and Wagers games. Everybody ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. I said 1840.
Ooh.
1871, 1850, 1854, the 28th of February, specifically. Because if you can't win, you might as well be specific.
True.
1850, 1854. Ladies and gentlemen, place your meeples.
All right.
So yeah,
And on the far end.
and the far end. That seems real reasonable.
Yeah.
Almost too reasonable. No, I'm gonna do that just so maybe I can pull ahead.
Wow.
I know. No, that's not right. That needs to go there. This needs to go here. Worked for me last time.
I haven't had the best of luck so far, so I don't know.
Oh, what are you
It doesn't
talking
matter
about?
which
You
one
have
I
a
pick.
point.
You have a point. That's luck.
1 point, sure.
I think 1 point might be
Better than
skill.
no points.
Yeah.
Truth. Fun fact.
Well, since that's my answer, I'll do 1850, see what happens. I'll get points somehow.
That is a
Exactly.
4-year gap.
Exactly.
Yep,
You
we'll
are
see.
you are shooting a very small space, young man. Good luck. In what year was the first piece of chewing gum sold? Fun fact! The very first bubble gum was invented in 1906. It was called Blibber Blubber.
Beautiful.
The first piece of gum was sold in 1848.
Wow.
1848, the correct answer. So let's see here. 1 for the right answer and 1 for my meeple on there.
Wow.
I should have
There
left
you
the
go.
big maple. I could not have
Yep.
guessed.
Wow, that
'Cause
was
that's
good.
that wasn't a reasonable thing to do. That wasn't how people win things. Blue and purple, that goes to you. That is yours, sir. And we move on to the
I
next
really
question.
felt like the February 28th thing was.
I know. Huh. It's an interesting one. How many large white laces are on an NFL football?
Oh.
How many large white laces are on an NFL football? I'm actually really curious what the fun fact is.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be something like one for every colony. It's going to be that sort of
Right,
thing.
or something. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to be some sort of in-joke Easter egg answer of.
Like how many teams were in the first season of NFL?
Yeah. That's what it feels like. It's that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back in the days when football was only a game colleges played, there would be 18 members per team, so there's 18 laces. So like, it has that kind of feel to me.
Ah, yeah. Do it.
You ready? You feel good about this?
I thought it was right
Second guess.
18.
And the reveal, 14, 8, 15,
11.
11. Okay, so 8, 11, 14, 15. Place your meeples, ladies and gentlemen.
Both on.
Everything on 11?
Yep.
I don't dislike it. I don't know that I'm going to go for it, but I don't dislike it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it's 10 actually. That's what I feel like it's going to be. Everybody's placed
I
your
feel
meeples.
like it's an odd number though, for whatever reason.
I'm trying to picture football laces in my head. Like, how
Right.
many realistically would like fit
Yeah.
the size of football? I don't know.
How many large white laces are in NFL football? Fun fact! NFL and college footballs are not the exact same size. They do both require the same number of stitches, which is 8.
Wow.
Meh, 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 meh.
job.
What
High
is my
five.
brain
I'm just
to
kidding.
know?
You're
Listen,
killing
I'll give you the high
No, I'm
five. That
kidding.
is fantastic.
No, you don't get
No,
it.
you
I'm
can.
losing. Here you go.
No. There you go.
Doesn't
You can
matter. I
have
don't
it.
care.
You deserve every bit of it for that.
You
So
do. You do every bit of it.
you have the correct answer, right on the nose, and 2 more for your meeple.
Dang it.
I get 1, 2, 3 for knowing what a right answer looks like. I'm going to pat myself on the back right here,
least you have
and
more
I'm going to
than
make a
1
big
point,
action out of it.
No, I mean, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull up your guys. Pull up your numbers. I am closing in. I am at 12 points. I'm 3 points away. So it is very possible that I could pull it off if I recognize talent and correct answers as I did last time. Next question. How many children do the Weasleys have in the Harry Potter series? How many children do the Weasleys have in the Harry Potter series? I love your stone cold focus. That's a number because I don't Harry Potter, so
I don't.
I know when I'm beaten. Uh-oh. That is a person that is currently looking at the family chart of the Weasleys and looking at scenes, how many people are running around.
She's
Everybody in?
Hufflepuffing it.
Everybody in? Are you? Caleb, are you?
I have to like really think my guess here. 'Cause it's like,
Okay.
I'm like the opposite of. I'm like the opposite of her because I know like next to nothing about it. I've only like watched the first 2 movies. And
So then this should make it easier for you to write an answer because you don't know from Harry Potter.
I'll go with the lucky number.
Okay. Are we ready, folks? I went 6. 7, 7, and 5.
5.
So 5, 6. And then here's what we do in this version is we do this, just to acknowledge that there are 2 answers that are the same. Because remember, it's not like any of the betting versions where you need to worry about that. They're just both going to be right. So 5, 6, and 7, I am just going to do that. Uh-oh. That is the look of a person that is thinking of changing answers. So maybe I'm just going to wait and see where you bet. Because,
You take your hands off the meeps.
Your hands have specifically been removed from the meeples. I believe that means that you have wagered them, sir.
Dang.
Uh-oh.
She's not even going on her own.
That makes me real nervous because you seem like a person that knows the exact answer. How many children do the Weasleys have in the Harry Potter series? Fun fact, Bill, Charlie, Percy, the identical twins, Fred and George, Ron and Ginny. It is in fact 7. 7's the correct answer.
I left out Percy because I don't like him.
I am sorry for that because I realize that's going to mess with sound. So green, 1, 2. Purple, 1, 2. Green, 1, 2, 3. Yellow, 1, 2. Bruce gets 15.
Yay.
Good job, Bruce.
Thank you very much. I feel good about that. We'll have to remember later if you won this game.
I didn't.
I know.
It seems
I
to be
know.
like an ongoing theme. See, I didn't know about the other two older ones. I knew the
Oh, yeah?
twins, Ron, and Jenny, but then there was the one that was out running around with the dragons.
Yeah,
But
Bill.
I didn't know there were two others.
Yeah, Percy. Well, Percy was their older brother who was actually in school with them for a while. He's in the books and
I
stuff.
know none of them. I literally
Yeah.
just went with the lucky number 7.
Nice.
Yeah.
I literally just went with whatever you wrote there because I could see the look in your eyes. You're like, carry the 1, it's 6, okay.
There's
And
a lot
I
of
could see it all
strings
happening,
connected.
and I was like,
But for some
whatever you
reason,
wrote.
when I counted again, once we got everything down, I forgot about Percy. So
That's it happens to people. Sometimes you just forget about Percy. What are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
well,
What are
he's
you
a
gonna
jerk.
do?
So whatever.
Wits and Wagers All Over Gambling versions are 7-question games, and this, just so you can see how it times, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions.
Nice.
7 questions. Thank you. I was like, wait a minute. Yes. 8 questions.
Eight
This was an
questions.
8-question game, so it was one more, not one less. But as you can see, it really isn't about the same time as any version of Wits and Wagers. So it's going to take the same 15 to 30-minute feel that you got here.
Nice.
Remember, if you'd like to check out any of our Wits and Wagers games, first of all, check out your friendly local game store. They should have an awful lot of them, and if they don't, say, hey, why don't you have an awful lot of them? Let them know. Past that, you can check us out at northstargames.com. If you'd like to learn about our games before they come out, please go to the website once again at northstargames.com. Join our mailing list. We would absolutely love to have you. I've been Bruce. I've been joined by
Caleb?
Thea.
And Rick.
and thank you so much for watching.